Okay, it's 7 o'clock. No, 6 o'clock. Or I'm sorry, 6 o'clock. We'll call this Judiciary Committee to order. Ms. Tingle, the chairman, will not be here due to her recent resignation. So with that, Mr. Taylor and I are on the Judiciary. A couple things to address. One is the comprehensive plan. I make a recommendation to move that to full council and to send it to the planning commission for them to work on.
I agree.
Okay, so we will do that. Second is the city charter. Again, I make a recommendation to move that to full council and for the recommendation to move it to the planning commission for review.
Okay. And do we have a full planning commission right now? You know?
Betty Jo says yes.
Yes. Okay.
Good.
Yep. I'll second that.
All right. Next is the guidelines for recruiting a city manager. An email was sent out from Mr. Taylor, or I'm sorry, Mr. Sappington. The guidelines for recruiting a city manager. I printed it off. It's 58 pages long. I went through it a few times. We're not going to use it this time, but in the future, I think this is something that could be looked at so that we have a permanent process.
Is that something we can adopt in the process of the redoing the charter or making charter amendments? Is it something we can add to that as far as the actual process? Because it doesn't really provide any guidance there. So
Right, and I'm assuming that
I don't know if that's the official thing. Maybe we need to ask Bob that, but I mean, it should be part of the charter, or should it be just part of city legislation as far as the procedures?
Yeah, and that's something the planning commission could look into also.
If we're part of the charter, you know, it's more difficult to make those adjustments, right? It's the charter, there's a longer, more cumbersome process to make those adjustments. But if it were just legislation that we adopted for the city as part of our processes, then that's something we can amend, you know, over time as needed.
Right, because the charter will have to be voted on to make changes.
Correct. Yeah.
Which,
That's from the public. Yeah.
yeah, and which would probably take the planning commission quite a while to work on and make it ready for the election in 25.
25, you think, or 2024? Are there elections in 2024? It'll be a major presidential election, so it'll be a major election, I'm assuming, for the county.
If it's ready for 24, I guess we could do that.
Okay. Well, we'll let them kind of look it up.
Yeah,
and maybe give us what they think that their timeline is. You know, I think that's only being fair because they can look at.
Yeah, because the planning commission meets once a month, so doing it in a year is going to be pretty tough for them.
And we just put the comprehensive plan over there too, so
Yeah.
that's a lot of work. So,
Yeah,
okay.
that's a lot
Yep,
to
so
put on their plate.
2025 then election.
And then also, I would like to look at guidelines for filling a vacant council seat so that we have a set process each time the seat comes open and we don't have a different process every time.
Okay.
I don't know what that looks like, how to do that, but we can move that on to full council for discussion. And
Excuse me,
yes,
isn't that already written in the charter?
Yes.
I don't know that we seem to do a different process every time.
Well, I know this council does, but I think in the
No, all-
charter it's written.
All councils in the past have done different ones, different processes.
I don't know, sir, because this is the only council I've done it.
Right, and so previously, it seems like it's done different every time. So that's why it needs to go to full council for discussion.
Totally agree on that one.
Yep. So we have a set process every time.
I know behind.
Such as, are the candidates going to be interviewed in open session, that question always comes up, open session or executive session? How are we gonna interview the candidates? It comes up every time. So I think a set process would be a good thing.
Yeah, the charter serves as a guide for that, but it doesn't spell out how, that's up to interpretation by the council. So I think a process would be.
Excuse me, I believe it tells you the time allotted, and then the president takes over to appoint an individual.
Within 15 days.
I think they're talking more about how they conduct the interviews and those kind of things prior to making a vote and appointment.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes. And the last thing I have on my list is the council rules of conduct. We have those in place. But in the recent light of what's happened in the past week, I'm not sure that we should discuss that at this time. All right. Other than that, do you have anything?
Nope, I don't have any, because I know that,
What's happened in the last week?
Ms. Tingle had the agenda pretty well planned out, so.
And yeah, these items were laid out in the agenda.
So I think that pretty much covers it. So, in terms of the city manager hiring process, is that something, what's this next step on that?
For the current,
Yeah, like you said, is that something we're pushing the planning commission to do, to give us guidance on, or? is that
no,
something we're-
not for this time, but in the
Okay, okay.
future.
Okay,
Because again, we have a very loose process for how to hire.
Well, they've
a
already
city
set the dates up for the interview.
yeah, for this
For this
time, but yeah, we're just,
manager. That way we have something in place for the future,
Gotcha.
so. Anything else?
Betty Jo?
Yes,
Is what happened in the past week, is that just private information for council, or is
No,
that something
no,
that,
there's been numerous, initiations of investigations. So with that being said, I'm not sure that we should be discussing changing the code of conduct at this time.
I think you're referring to the emails that were deleted off the city administration.
Actually, I'm not referring to a specific. There's been numerous investigations launched.
Somebody got into the city administration's emails and erased a bunch of them concerning the AEP contracts.
are you kidding?
Nope.
well, alleged, right?
Yeah,
Investigation's not done.
I don't think we're going to discuss specifics at this meeting at this time.
I only asked, trying to decide, to understand what
Yep.
is taking place.
Right. So we can revisit this at a later time. Yes,
I have a question, on the rules of Nelsonville City Council. Do all the council members have a copy of that, and did they get it when they became members of council?
they all have to sign it. That you will abide by the rules.
And they did do that,
And I'm sorry,
and they did do that,
I can't answer that. As far as I did, yes.
okay,
I can't answer if everybody else did.
so nobody really knows, do they?
I'm sure it could be found out. I don't have that answer.
Is that held, where are those contracts held, by the way? Are those held in auditor's office or city manager's
Not
office?
in my office.
The rules of the council,
Council clerk?
they're right here.
No, the one that,
Oh, the one that
each
you
one,
signature
yes,
page?
one correct.
I don't know.
Since we have so much important business and our city law director that isn't present a lot of times, it really leaves everybody just in limbo, you know, because I think every one of these people who are here tonight, including yourselves, really care about this town. and want to try to put it on track to go the right direction. It's like we go one step forward and 55 steps back. And it's a concern. It really is. You know, all these big activities are getting ready to come up here real soon. And, you know, we've got to have some continuity here. So we're together and not fighting each other all the time over things that don't make sense to me because I don't know what they are, but it just seems like we waste a lot of energy on things that we certainly ought to be able to bypass and move forward. Is there a reason that Mr. Toy doesn't? I know that committee meetings are rare, that most law directors in the past haven't attended them either, but I just was wondering if, you know, he's missed some of our meetings, and I'm sure he had a logical explanation, but is it wrong for me to ask you, don't you gentlemen think that we should have some with him here to answer some questions?
I mean, we could always ask him. I don't know if he would be able to attend or would attend.
Attend the committee meetings.
I mean, I don't know.
Any meeting that we have, you know.
Well, I believe the law director has been at our regular council meetings and
He was at the last meeting.
at the last special meeting.
Okay, great, he's missed a lot of meetings, you know, for, I'm sure his own personal reasons. I'm not talking about him behind his back, I'm just trying to understand why we don't ever get a complete answer. We just get more confusion on our part.
Well, I mean, I don't think we asked Mr. Toy to be here at this meeting. So, I mean, that's the only thing I can say is why he's probably not. So if we would have asked him, he might have shown up. I mean,
I'm not picking on.
no. I don't think you are. I don't think you are at all. I think you're asking a good question. I don't know if he's ever been asked to attend a committee meeting.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting me speak.
I know I didn't ask him to be here, so, I mean.
He'll be here for the regular meeting.
Yeah, and I think when he does not attend those meetings, he's either announced that he wouldn't be here or he, that Andy comes.
Yeah, that's what we're all sets in.
I don't have anything more. I know we allotted 20 minutes for today.
Right. Anyone else? Okay, we'll adjourn the meeting at 6:13.